Well, good evening everybody, and Danny, thank you for those incredibly kind and warm words. You are also a very dear friend to me as well, and thank you for all your support over the past couple of years. As ever, it's always best to begin with a few thanks. So thank you to everyone for being here tonight to support the work of Onward. Thank you especially to my parliamentary colleagues in the audience tonight for your engagement with ideas and helping to keep debate strong in our party. And thanks to Will and the team at Onward. Now, I remember when you guys were setting up and there was a space on the centre right that we all knew existed, but we couldn't quite size, couldn't quite articulate. And then you came along and spoke to us about a change in politics that had been happening right under our noses. Some truths hidden in plain sight. Now, Onward has always let the quality of its work sound the loudest, and we have all heard it. You can find the impact of Onward's ideas across a slew of our government's policies, such as the community ownership and levelling up funds. But perhaps their greatest contribution to the government so far is Neil O'Brien, who provided such a boost at the start of Onward's journey and is now fortuitously placed in the Department for Levelling Up. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening is rightly a tribute to the fantastic work of Onward, and I'd like you to join me in congratulating Will and the whole team for everything that they have achieved. Now, Onward exists to help provide the big ideas to the biggest challenges. And there is no greater challenge in our country right now than the task of rebuilding our economy after the pandemic. In the here and now, we're tackling a cost of living challenge head on, and we are focused on making sure that those most in need get the support they deserve. Now, this isn't just economically rational, it's morally right. And my view of a stronger economy has always been one that rewards hard work, but constantly gives people another opportunity to get it right. This isn't just a short-term imperative, but an active part of our long-term strategy. A long-term strategy that will build a stronger economy by fixing our productivity problem and driving up growth. A few months ago, I delivered the Mays Lecture and set out a plan to do exactly that. Now, this plan has three priorities. Priorities that I believe will foster a new culture of enterprise and deliver a higher growth rate. The first is to encourage greater levels of capital investment by our businesses. Second, we need to improve the technical skills of tens of millions of people already in work. And third, we want to make this the most innovative economy in the world by driving up business investment in R&D. Capital, people, ideas. Businesses investing more, training more, and innovating more. Three priorities to deliver higher productivity, tied with one golden thread. That what the government does is far less important than creating the conditions for private businesses and individuals to thrive. Now, over the longer term, we all know higher productivity is the only way to achieve a sustainably higher growth, higher wage economy. But we must be honest about the long-standing weaknesses hampering our ability to achieve that, specifically in investment, skills, and innovation. I firmly believe that the government is now doing its part. Public sector net investment is at its highest sustained level for half a century. Yet capital investment by UK businesses is significantly lower than the OECD average and accounts for approximately half of our productivity gap with France and Germany. Next, government funding for post-16 education is increasing considerably alongside a range of initiatives from T-levels to the Prime Minister's Lifetime Skills Guarantee. And yet, UK employers spend just half the European average training their employees, leading to just 18% of adults holding vocational qualifications, a third lower than the OECD average. And lastly, government is delivering our pledge to increase public investment in R&D to £22 billion a year. And yet, business investment in R&D as a percentage of GDP is less than half the OECD average. And our lower rate of innovation explains almost all of our productivity gap with the United States. Now, this is not to criticise business or beatify government. These are simply the facts. The growth and productivity challenge is a shared problem. Government and the market need to crack it together. That's why I've set out a plan for economic growth that prioritises these three things: capital, people, and ideas. Capital, because without investment, we cannot increase the quantity and the quality of what we do. People, because our workforce is our greatest asset. And ideas, because anything truly transformative begins in the same place, the imagination. We must put all our energy into these three priorities. And so in the autumn, we will be setting out a range of tax cuts and reforms to incentivise businesses to invest more, train more, and innovate more. And getting this right won't just mean that the economy improves, but real places do. Now, I talk about it often because it's my political backyard, but if you want to know what I mean, then go to Teesside. Strong local political leadership from a great mayor, Ben Houchin, an active and excited business community, a new Freeport, the government's new economic campus, investment in town centres like Stockton, Redcar, Middlesbrough and Yarm, a revitalised train station at Darlington, and so on. You get the picture. But only a few years ago, the SSI steel plant closed, and thousands of jobs were lost. People were asking if Teesside even had a future. But as the shadow has receded, new industries have sprung to life. Vaccine manufacturing, offshore wind, hydrogen, carbon capture and storage. The author William Gibson once remarked, "The future is already here, it's just poorly distributed." I can say with confidence that is less so in the Northeast today than at any point in recent history. Now, my ambition is to bring that sort of transformative change and optimism to every part of the United Kingdom. That is our plan for a stronger economy, inspired by and shaped by many sources, but with an undeniable Onward imprint. Now, in conclusion, it would obviously be odd for me not to acknowledge the political events of this week. And honestly, I generally, and have generally for the time I've had this job, not tried to offer broader political views on the country or the party, largely because up until recently, anything I did or said was framed by others as some tilt at the leadership. Not so much a problem for me anymore. So given that, my view is that our strategic political challenge is to reconnect the coalition between what some will call the red and blue walls. Now, in truth, I don't like those terms, because in my experience, Conservative voters largely share the same values no matter where they live. In fact, most people in this country share those values. They believe in hard work and a fair reward. They believe in justice and opportunity. They believe that change is positive and we must embrace it. And they believe that our country, the United Kingdom, and its story is something they could be proud of. Our challenge with the voters, and the country more widely, is the same as it was on the morning of Friday, December the 13th, 2019. To prove that we are worthy of the great trust placed in us to deliver on the priorities of the British people. It is no more or less complicated than that. The Conservative Party will win if we have proven ourselves capable of leading the country through the toughest of times and offer a compelling vision for the future built on hope and aspiration. Now, in their 2019 report, The Politics of Belonging, Onward talked about the tension in the public's mind between freedom and belonging. But such a tension is not unresolvable. Our politics, at its best, is a unifying enterprise. We can disagree. We can vehemently disagree on many things. But if we stay true to our bond with the people, based on those shared values, we can not only unite our party, but the whole country. I believe we can. We can inspire. We can deliver. And I know that Onward will help us to do that. Thank you very much.